I thought you guys would like reading by the fire for our read aloud. So we are on chapter 4. The title is Tea at 4. The unsigned letter was reprinted in a number of major newspapers around the world. This was a first. An art scholar had become a thief and was asking the public for help. Overnight, Miss Hussey's classroom became a combination of museum and laboratory. The walls were soon plastered with reproductions of Vermeer paintings, and library books were piled on every surface. The kids borrowed powerful magnifying glasses from the science department, trying to see how the floor tiles Vermeer painted in the 1660s compared with those in the 1670s, or whether a hand in one painting was similar to a hand in another. They studied wrinkles, reflections, shadows, wood, glass, and fabric. In the process, they discovered how blurry most reproductions can become when examined through a magnifying glass. Miss Hussey seemed happy with the noise and argument and made everyone defend their opinions. Calder's job was to organize the data the class collected into a giant chart. Petra's was to record some of the conclusions about which paintings were real and which were not. Other kids set up a voting system and tallied the results or worked on letters that they would post on the internet. Talk that felt exhilarating in Miss Hussey's classroom was nerve-wracking elsewhere. Behind closed doors, those in museums or in positions of authority in the art world were deep and complicated, sometimes angry discussions. Everyone agreed that the most important issue was how to get back a lady writing. Her safety came first. They also agreed that a scholarly terrorist should not be allowed to blackmail the art establishment and endanger one of the world's greatest treasures simply to have his or her way. How could museums consider the thief's demands? Another problem was that the letter had fired the public's curiosity and imagination. The press had, of course, fed the flames. Suddenly, everyone from sports stars to taxi drivers felt entitled to share their thoughts on which work was a real Vermeer painting and which wasn't. There were interviews every day on the news. People talked confidently about Vermeer in fancy restaurants, in subways, in donut shops, and elevators. There was a wave of rebellious feeling against those who were experts in the field. After all, if art wasn't for the people of the world, who was it for? And as the thief had pointed out, wasn't one set of eyes as good as any other? What did an education and a fancy degree have to do with seeing? The letters that swept over the internet were adding up in the thousands. Many were siding with the opinions of the thief. Some even forgave him or her in the interest of truth, feeling that the thief had a very important mission that would have pleased Vermeer himself. On the day her class voted on the attribution of each of the 35 paintings, Miss Hussey was oddly quiet. The majority of sixth graders sided with the thief, concluding that Vermeer's early and late works were indeed suspicious. Impatient to know what Miss Hussey thought, Calder asked his teacher the questions she usually asked them. "Well, do you agree?" He thought she'd be pleased. "We'll see," Miss Hussey said in a flat, grown-up tone. It wasn't like her at all. As she turned away, Calder thought she looked frightened.